Hi guys, Lancel here again with another UI Secrets workshop. Thank you for continuing to watch this stuff. Today we're going to talk about how to set up your unit frames. Unit frames are these things up here. So right here we have our player frame and we have our target frame, and I can also have a focus frame and party frames and raid frames and things like that. It shows health, power, if they have auras on them, if they're in PvP, certain indicators, they have a portrait, stuff like that. So all that is handled by unit frame add-on. So I'm going to show you today Pitbull 4. It's very powerful, although it has a kind of a steep learning curve. But I'll teach you it in a way to where it's simple. So I've already downloaded Pitbull, obviously. Pitbull has a series of folders. As you can see here, all these are Pitbull 4. Pitbull 4 is located on Curse, Pitbull Unit Frames 4.0. If you can go here, you just type it into Google and it will find it for you. You can read about it and find some pictures of it or whatever. So download that, put that in your interface add-ons folder, all of them, and we want to pick which functions Pitbull wants to do. So obviously you want the main root add-on, and there's a couple of things that you'll have to checkmark or uncheckmark based on what you want or don't want. So background, blank space, and border, those are all cosmetic things that you'll need to construct the actual frames. You can do cast bar. If you're a caster, you might want cast bar latency, but if you're melee, you don't really need it. But definitely cast bar is useful for things like slam procs or mounting, or casting profession items, things like that. Combat fader. A fader is basically it will cause transparency on the frame based on if it's on combat or not. I do not use that. Combat text also will display numbers based on damage taken on the actual frame. It's kind of intensive on the memory, so I don't use that either. You will want combo points if you're a rogue. Obviously, you turn on dog tags. You obviously want a health bar. You want to hide the blizzard frames. Highlighting is, it will highlight the frame that you mouse over. I do not use that, but you can. Hostility fader, again, it's a fader that I don't use. Leader icon with text, master looter. Portrait is definitely something you want. Power bar, definitely. Range fader is also very nice to have in a raid. If the person's out of range of 40 yards, it will gray out that person. If you're using Pitbull as a substitute for grid, then you'll definitely want this. Pitbull can be a substitute for grid. It just has a different system of filtering what auras go on there. But that can be done. It can replace grid. It's not as powerful as grid, but if you're not a healer, then grid shouldn't be necessary, and Pitbull can handle the raid frame functionality very well. Ready check icon sometimes is good, and sounds, you really don't want sounds. So, okay. Enabled all that stuff. Double check it. And we're going to log in for the first time. You'll notice that it has changed the appearance of your unit frames, and they're no longer in the top left. You can click on it and move it around. Here I'm actually, see, I'm targeting myself. I'm going to click on myself and I'm targeting myself. So this is the target frame right here. This is the target of target frame, and this is the target of target of target frame. So yes, you can have the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon going on if you want. That's from a web comic years ago that I thought was really funny. So here it is. So to open up the customization menu, you type /pit, and here it is. The first thing you want to do when you open this up is try to figure out what kind of profiles you want to do. If you have different characters, if you want different layouts for each character, then you'll have to make sure that you set your profile first before you do anything. So if I want to save a specific profile for this character, I would make one and work on it there. I have made previous profiles before, and I have my main character's profile saved here. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to mess with the default profile for now, and we'll see how this goes here. Actually, let's just make a new one. Let's just make a new one so I don't mess up the default profile here. I'm going to name this test. Okay. You can also enable dual profile if you have one character with two different specs and need two different unit frame layouts. You can definitely do that as well. But make sure you're very careful with how you save and load all of these profiles, because if you don't do it right, then it can mess up and you'll be very sad and all of your work will go down the drain. Okay, so I'm in my new profile, and let me teach you this. A unit is a frame. So these units are what comes with the game. So your player frame, target to target, raid frames, stuff like that. And you can assign a specific layout to that frame. And I can create layouts, and I can assign those layouts to the frame. And that's what we're going to do. So you can see here I'm starting out with just one layout so far. I will create more, obviously. Okay, so let's start with creating a layout for my player frame. Okay, so I don't want to use this layout right here. I want to use a different layout. So I'm going to go to Layout Editor, and I'm going to create a new layout called Player. I'm going to hit OK. So now I can mess with this layout without having to change all of the other frames. Okay. So Layout Editor. Each frame is split up into a couple bars. You have your you can see here you have health bar, power bar, which is your rage bar, cast bar, a blank space bar, which we will also use, and alternate power bar. Alternate power bar is for fight specific stuff like Cho'Gall, your madness amount. You can disable that if you'd like. Here in the general tab, you've got a texture editor, and it doesn't come with a lot of textures. I will show you how to add more textures in a minute, but we just want to get a general gist of how this stuff can be changed. So let's go to health bar. Actually, no, wait a minute. General. Okay. So let's start with the general tab here. Size, strata, and delete. We don't want to delete it. Size, you can change how. Wait a minute. Before I can actually see this change, I have to assign my player layout to my player frame. That makes sense, doesn't it? Alright, let's go back to Layout Editor. So what I did there is I assigned my player layout that I'm going to start messing with to my player frame. Alright. So size, obviously you can change the size and change the scale. Let's just keep it at 100%. Okay. So you can adjust that stuff. So what I'm going to do with this player frame is I'm going to just drop it down in here like so. So I want to make sure that it's the appropriate width and height first before I mess with anything. So Let's make this 200, I think. 190. And you just gotta play around with it. Let's go 185. Leave a little bit of space in there because I want to add in my background. 182. Okay. In height, let's fix this up here. Oops. 175 probably. 180. Nope. 178. Alright, that's about as good as it gets for now. So you can see that it's kind of overlapping my action bars. I don't want that. So I'm going to change the strata. The strata is how far back in the layering this frame will be. So if I want it in the very back, then all I have to do is just hit background and it'll squish it back behind there. And there are 50 different frame levels for each category. So if you have multiple add-ons using the same layer, like if you have 3 different add-ons that are using background, then you can set the level if you want. So this is the very back, and if you want the very front, which would be tooltip, it will cover everything. So there you go. Alright, so now that I've got it appropriately sized, I'm just going to drag this out for a minute and just mess with the bars here. Okay, so that's the general bar. Now let's go to the bars tab here. Spacing and padding. Spacing is the space between the bars, and padding is the padding around the bars, or the actual frame itself. And the texture, you can choose your textures. We'll add more textures in a minute. I'll teach you how to do that. Okay. So enable blank space. Alright, so I've got 4 bars set up here. I've disabled alternate power bar because I don't use that. I've got blank space, cast bar, health bar, and power bar. Let's see. You can choose to enable or disable it. Let's see. So one thing to mention is the relative size of the bar. So I've got 4 bars here, and each of them are set to height 2. This is height 2 as well. So the total height of the actual frame is 8. So if you have 2 in each and 8 is total, then all of the bars will be equal. But let's say I want to change my health bar to be twice as big as everything else. Well, if everything else is 2, then I better set my height to 4 on this, and it will make it twice as big. So instead of total size of 8, now you have a total size of 10. That's how it's kind of like a ratio thing. Or I can make it 4 times as big as everything else and do 8 if I want it. But that's just how it works. Okay. So what I do is I take my health bar and I move it to the left, but I will show you that in a second. I also have to add in your portrait. You go into indicators and portrait, and you want to enable this. Okay. And it will act as a bar here, as you can see. Or you can have it aligned in the center or the left. Wow, that doesn't work for some reason. Or the right. Yeah, okay. So if you choose position as bar, it will look like that. And sometimes this really bugs out, so you just have to kind of mess with it. You can either have it like on the side as just a square, or position as bar, but I like to have it as bar. Okay. And to change the orientation of it, like if you want to have your portrait on top, then you'd go into position here and move it on top. There you go. So I want my health bar to be on the left now. So I go back to bars and health bar, position, or side left. Okay. That allows the health bar to be stacked to the left as a column instead of horizontally. Okay. Cast bar, make this size 1, blank space. If I set my blank space to 12, notice how the blank space will take up the space of the actual action bar block, as you can see. So it creates this kind of upside down L shape for my Pitbull unit frame. And the blank space is effectively just nothing. It's just blank space. It doesn't do anything. And you can also change the opacity here. See, I can make it completely blank. Neat, huh? Alright. So let's fix this cast bar. So anytime you click on this position menu, it's going to show you, okay, the portrait's on top, the power bar is underneath that, and the cast bar is underneath that. I do want my cast bar because it's important for when I want to mount and stuff like that, so it can show there. Alright. So if I want my health bar to be green, I can do that. I can change the color. So I go this is my power bar. I want my health bar. Okay. So uncheck color by class and we'll turn green. How about that? There are a bunch of these options here. I'm not going to go over these. They're really not important. You can kind of figure them out yourself here. Alright. Next thing I want to do is get rid of these ugly texts. I know I'm a level 85 warrior worgen with possible 100 rage. I don't need to know that stuff. So to fix your text, you go into the text tab and you'll have to pick out of this menu here which text you want to modify. So do a class. I know I'm a warrior, I don't need to see it. So you pick it and then you disable it and then it will go away. Do a name. I want to show my name and I want to attach it to the portrait. There you go. You can change the font. Oh, that's the default font for everything. I want to change the font of just the name. So I go down to edit text and do that. Alright. You can change the orientation, where it's placed. So you can see the degree of customizability of this. It's incredible. Alright, let's change my health. I want to attach my health to my portrait. And I want it on the bottom left. And I will see I'll have to make my portrait a little bit bigger. So portrait height 4. And let's change my power bar height 3. 2. I think that works. Let's go back to my texts. You can also change the format. There's so many different kinds of formats here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8 different formats for health. You can do absolute and percent, absolute. You can do mini. I like mini. 136K. That's all I really need to know. Alright. So let's go to power text. I like my rage to be very well readable. So I'm going to position this in the middle. I'm going to change the format to mini. See, it'll just tell me how much rage I have, not how much total. Because I'm not a caster, I don't need to know how much mana I have. Alright, and let's increase the size of this thing to the max, change the font. And there you have it, a nice big ass number for your rage. It's very easy to read. Okay. Let's change my cast bar a little bit. I don't need to know the icon. I don't need to know the text of what I'm casting either. So I go to my cast, disable it, and my cast time and disable it. Alright, so that's good. Let me show you how to get additional textures for your Pitbull frames. Alright. So I'm going to go to add-ons here. You want to get what's called SharedMedia. And this is an add-on pack that contains a whole crap load of different bar textures and fonts. And it's a library that can be used by many other add-ons that you might have as well. It will add to the list of your textures that add-ons use. And all you have to do is download it and put it in your interface add-ons folder like anything else. Okay. So I already have this installed. I'm going to go and enable it. Select my character and find SharedMedia. Okay. And you'll notice my portrait's kind of messed up, and I'll tell you how to fix that later, especially if you're a Worgen male. If you're a Worgen male, it's the only race-gender combination that has a messed up portrait, and I'll teach you how to go into the actual Lua file and fix it. Alright, so I've added more textures, and I want to change my texture of my bars. So I'm going to go to my health bar. And you see how all these textures have been added on. And you can pick whatever you want. Oh, wait a minute. Make sure that when you're doing this that you select the layout that you're editing. Otherwise, you know, it's not going to work. Alright, so I've selected my player layout that I'm editing. And my player frame uses my player layout. Like I said, large learning curve, but very powerful. So you can change all these different textures, and You can see that it is changing. If you want like a little flowery thing, it's up to you. If you want to make it look like a Tootsie Roll, it's fine with me. Bunch of different kind of stuff in here. Something for everyone. I like the Banto bar because it's nice and smooth, and it's not just a flat bar. It's got a little bit of design to it, but it's not too exorbitant. And for my power bar, I choose the fifths texture. So I think it looks nice as a rage bar. I'm going to change the opacity a little bit here. So wait a minute. You can change the color. Do whatever you want. If you want a blue rage bar, you can have a blue rage bar. I like mine in a little dark red. And this is so much fun, to be honest. It's like painting a picture. You get to customize whatever you want. It's cool. It's a little darker red on there. If I'm not too careful, I'll start talking like Bob Ross or something. Okay. So let's check my empty health bar, see what it looks like. Okay. So the way it's set up, it does turn yellow, and it has this kind of empty color in there. And it will go down to red if you get really low. And as you can see, my health number is changing too. So that's working as intended. Alright, so that looks decent for now. You can always tweak it, fine tune it. So let's fix the portrait here. Okay. So if you are a Worgen male, let me teach you how to go into your World of Warcraft interface, add-ons. Pitbull 4. Okay. Here are the instructions that I posted like a year ago. So let me pull up a Sorry, this is going slow, but I want to make sure that I set you guys up properly. Alright, so this here. If you can read that, you want to write that down real quick. That is the forum topic to get to the instructions to fix your Worgen portrait. Okay. So I'm going to go to my portrait.lua. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Oh. Pitbull 4 portrait, obviously. It's in the Pitbull 4 portrait folder. Portrait.lua. Want to open with a notepad is fine. And this is the code. So what you want to do is you want to copy this right here. Find all cases, set camera 0, and you want to go to edit, replace, find what, set camera 0, and then replace with set portrait zoom 1. And you want to do this with all cases, replace all, and it will do it. I've already replaced this in my file, obviously, but that's how to fix your foreground portrait. You just do that. It's very simple. If you missed any of that, just stop the video and go back and watch it again. And make sure that you save the document before you close it out. If you don't save it, then it won't save. And after you do that, make sure you exit the game and reload it, because it has to reload the Lua file. Okay. So that's a very simple fix. Okay. So we've got our player frame set up pretty well, but what about all this garbage that we still haven't done yet? You can set your target frame, your target to target, your target to target to target. You probably don't want. So you go into your units, target to target to target, just disable it. Goes away. Oh, it was that one. So, layout editor. I want to make a new layout for my target. Whoops. Target. And I also want to make a new layout for my target of target. As you can see, they appear in the list, and you can edit them as such. And make sure that you also assign it the layout that you want to change. Okay. So right now, these frames look like my player frame because the settings is spawned from the player frame. But you can change it without messing up your actual player frame, as you can see. So you can put your target frame wherever you like and adjust it however you like. Blank space will be at the top, and I want to put the name in the blank space in the middle on the left. So like I said, you have complete freedom with how you want to set up these bars. So many different options here. You can add borders. Well, that's a background, so you can enable or disable the background if you want. You can enable borders based on what the mob is, if it's a boss or whatever. So that's pretty cool. You can make nice and neat frames. I think the power bar is too big, the text, so I'm going to change that. Make sure you set your target frame power to something that you can know what the maximum is, like if you're targeting a caster in PvP or something. You don't know how much mana they have, and from that you can determine how much, you know, PvE gear or whatever. Let's see. Go back to my bars here. Power bar. I want a Banto bar texture. And color by class. Yeah, color by class. And hide non-power. So for example, if I target something that does not have a power bar, then where's an NPC? Then it will not show. Alright, it's bugging out, but if it bugs out, just relog and it'll fix. So as you can see, I'm targeting this NPC. It does not have a rage bar or a mana bar. It will not show if you check that option. That's pretty cool. You can also color the health bar by class if you want. So if you're targeting a mage, it will show his health bar as blue. If you're targeting a shaman, it shows health bar as dark blue. A bunch of different options there. Okay. So, I mean, this is all self-explanatory. If you want to set up raid frames, then you can. The unit is... Hold on. I think it's an actual add-on itself. I guess not. But when you join a party or a raid, it's going to pull up Pitbull raid frames, and you can. Where is it? It's going to pull up raid frames. I swear it does. Alright, but whatever. Let's talk about... I'm just going to change this here. Units, targets, target, layout, target. Alright, that's a little better. Let's talk about... auras for a minute. Okay, so these little boxes down here are your buffs, and you can display the buffs any way you want. You can change where they orient themselves, you can change where they're anchored to, you can change what they show. You can add filters. But I mean, all this stuff is more advanced stuff, and you just have to learn as you go. I don't have time to sit here and go through everything. Just want to kind of give you a general idea of how to set up Pitbull how you want it specifically. And it's kind of a simple thing to do. There's just so many options to go through. It's ridiculous. and it will take you a lot of time to get it down pat perfectly. Alright, the last thing that I want to talk about is in this video is TrinketMenu. This is a very old add-on that's been around since vanilla, and it still works, and it's very cool. And I like it simply because it allows you to use your trinkets without tying up an action bar. It creates its own action bar. So remember in the previous video I said that the game only allows you 10 action bars. And then TrinketMenu allows you to have an 11th action bar just for your trinkets that you can click on or set a hotkey to or whatever you want. So if you're limited with your action bars, definitely pick up TrinketMenu for your trinkets. It's really cool. And it is an old add-on, so it will not, its config will not show up in the kind of the new style add-on stuff. You have to type /TrinketMenu, one word, space config, and it will pull up this menu here. And you can lock it or unlock it, drag it around, move it wherever you want. But the coolest thing about this add-on is it will allow you to make a queuing system for your trinkets. So if you have a bunch of different trinkets, you can make a list that will cycle through the trinkets when you use it. You obviously can't do this in combat, but if you're out just questing around or farming or leveling up or whatever, you can make a queuing system for your trinkets that will swap your trinkets after every combat after you use it. So if you had 3 unused trinkets, for example, and you wanted to use an unused trinket every 30 seconds, then this add-on will do that for you automatically. But I just use this so that I can have my icon of my trinket there, so that I can verify that I am actually equipped this trinket, and I can also assign hotkeys to them and whatnot. The hotkeys are in here. You got 3 hotkeys that you can assign to it. Alright, and later on I will show how to set up the internal cooldown timer on the trinket that you've seen in any of my streams or videos, just not today. So that's it. Sorry it was kind of disorganized, but there's a lot of stuff to go over, and I didn't really have time to sit down and plan all this stuff out beforehand. I just kind of sit down and do it. But thanks for watching. Again, I'm going to do my entire rating UI in this series of videos, so more stuff will be coming up later. So have fun with setting up your unit frames, and I will see you guys soon.